Now.
And right now on Good Day Chicago, the Southwest service line with Metra is set to resume soon following a massive train derailment.
The family of a high school student in Aurora speaks out after his family says that he received multiple injuries during a school walkout.
And taking a live look outside, another mild day expected for the Chicago area.
Good morning and welcome to the 5 a.m. hour of Good Day Chicago. I'm Brian Jackson.
I'm Anthony Ponce for Gabby. Early, Mike Kaplan, good morning to you.
Hello, sir.
Hello. We're taking a walk on the mild side today?
Someone should write a song similar to.
There you go.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Take a walk on the mild side. Yes. All right. Happy birthday, Abraham Lincoln. And on this day, we're going to see temperatures getting up, most of us, into the low 40s. But it's a chilly start to the day. It'll be 31 degrees at 9, 38 at noon with the thaw underway again. And it'll still be melting at 4 o'clock with the temperature of 40 degrees. Skies are going to be anywhere from partly to mostly cloudy through the day, so it won't be as perfectly sunny as it was yesterday. One of the colder spots, Valparaiso, 18. It's also 20 at Waukegan, but O'Hare, 26, 24 at Joliet, 28 at Midway. It will be a little cooler at the lakefront, but most of us headed for the low 40s this afternoon. Let's check those travel times, and are those right?
Those are not correct. We need to update our model here. It's I'm looking on my computer here. Other than a couple of ramp closures this morning, Mike, everything is in the green. You're smooth sailing on the area expressways. The only exceptions to that, a couple of exit ramps are closed. One of them is the I-290 West at 88 interchange right now. That is due to construction. And then also if you are around Joliet, Hobolt Road, I-80 East, exit 127. That exit ramp is closed down, but otherwise you are smooth sailing, and we will get that traffic computer updated in time for our next hit. All right, service. This is the big traffic question this morning. Service on the Southwest Metra line. This was completely shut down yesterday morning because of this massive derailment. It is set to resume right about now.
It's supposed to resume about 5 a.m. this morning. This happened after a freight train derailment near Chicago Ridge yesterday. Roseanne is there this morning with the latest update. Roseanne?
Yes, I've just been watching the board closely because guess what? It is up and running. The number 800 to Union Station. It was up there just a moment ago. There it is, 5:30 a.m. It will leave this station. And as we look down the tracks this morning, this is where we were yesterday, and the derailment was just right off there in the distance past that light. Those tracks are now clear. We saw the last of some heavy equipment leaving the tracks just moments ago, and it looks like service is resuming just in time for morning rush. Now, 10 cars of a freight train derailed early yesterday between Ridgeland and Central Avenue, where the CSX and Metra tracks intersect. No one was hurt, no freight spilled, but crews worked all day removing debris. Metra saying not only were both set, there was also significant switch and signal damage. All trains to and from Chicago Ridge were canceled, and while Southwest service is resuming this morning, Central Avenue between 107th and Pleasant, we are told, is still closed. But once again, back live, we're looking at some clear tracks, and we do expect trains to be going in and out of Chicago Ridge once again, starting with that 5:30 train to Union Station. Good news after a really frustrating day yesterday here in Chicago Ridge. Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Thank you, Roseanne. Yeah, they were really able to get that cleaned up pretty quickly. Service resuming this morning. All right, time is now 5:03. A mother and her son in Aurora are speaking out after she says that her 15-year-old son was tackled by police during an anti-ICE school walkout earlier this week. The family of Yuval Perez Soto, who happens to be an East Aurora High School student, says he was part of a peaceful protest on Monday when officers knocked him to the ground. His mother claims that he was rushed to the hospital and treated for bruises and head injuries. Aurora police said that officers are responding to several coordinated walkouts involving roughly 1,500 students across the city of Aurora. Police say that some of the students moved into traffic, blocked vehicles, and even got into fights. Fox Chicago got a chance to speak with Soto about his experience.
In that moment, he was grabbing me by my sweater and he spun me around. Then some random officers tried to they came out of nowhere and just tackled me to the ground. They were putting all their weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I told them get off me because I couldn't breathe at all. I couldn't breathe. I just woke up and then they grabbed me. They put me back in the back of the van.
Soto was one of 3 teenagers arrested during the walkout. Students and community members are now demanding that the Aurora Police Department to drop all charges against the teens. They're also demanding for accountability from the officers.
We're learning new details about the suspect in the deadly mass shooting that happened at a school in British Columbia. Investigators say the 18-year-old suspect had a history of police visits to her home to check on her mental health. The suspect, identified as Jesse Van Rootseller, was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted wound after a shooting at a school in Tumbler Ridge. More than 25 others were hurt in that shooting. The Canadian Prime Minister says the country is in shock following this incident.
We will get through this, we will learn from this, but right now it's a time to come together, as Canadians always do in these situations, these terrible situations, to support each other, to mourn together, and to grow together.
No word yet on a motive for that shooting.
More than a week after police believed that she was taken from her home against her will, officers from multiple agencies continue the search for Nancy Guthrie.
This comes after investigators released a man who was detained for questioning. That man wound up not being connected to Nancy's disappearance. As we check back in now with Caroline Elliott, who is live in Tucson, Arizona, with the very latest. Caroline?
Yeah, Anthony, Brian, as far as we know, investigators still do not have a suspect in this case. But here on the ground, that work is still very ongoing. This morning, we know at about 2 a.m. local time, investigators were conducting a search about a mile away from Nancy Guthrie's home, as the Sheriff's Department is currently going through 18,000 different tips they've received in this case.
Why were they there?
Teams scouring desert terrain for clues found a black glove Wednesday along the road near Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home. Officials are trying to figure out if it matches the same glove worn by a masked person seen in surveillance video from Nancy's front porch.
What many perpetrators do not realize is they are leaving their fingerprints inside the glove.
The FBI is continuing its investigation into a new letter sent to TMZ. TMZ founder Harvey Levin says it's not a ransom note.
It is a letter saying that this person who wrote it knows the identity of the kidnapper. And for the price of 1 Bitcoin, that person will disclose the information.
1 Bitcoin is worth about $67,000, more than the $50,000 the FBI is offering as a reward for information. Law enforcement are hoping thousands of incoming tips will help them find Nancy. This as community members are leaving flowers outside her home, many of them yellow, symbolizing hope.
My wife and her family grew up with Savannah and Annie. It's pretty close to home.
And meantime, a source close to the Guthrie family told Fox News that reports that the Guthrie family hired a PI are not true. Anthony, Brian.
All right, thank you, Caroline. We'll be checking back in for more updates from Tucson. A Chicago man sentenced to life in prison for a 2020 double homicide in Chinatown. Prosecutors say the 26-year-old Alvin Thomas approached 2 men and 2 women in the parking lot of an apartment complex in Chinatown. They said he tried to rob all of them and then shot the men who resisted. The victim's family is happy to finally have closure. Meanwhile, Thomas's family says he was not trying to rob them and that he was drunk looking for help. The Thomases have suggested that they will appeal that decision.
Time is running out now for Congress to figure out funding for DHS before the agency runs out of money. Democrats appear prepared to let the government shut down if they can't get reforms on ICE and Border Patrol policies. Republicans say the Democrats' demands are a wish list of non-starters and say that ICE has already been fully funded through the rest of the Trump administration.
Get rid of the masks. They don't need to be dressed like tactical operators in Fallujah. Should be wearing name tags. Use of force, criteria that they have, their standard operating procedures needs to be overhauled as well.
If their policies were enacted, we would just have open borders, we'd have open, unimpeded immigration, and that is not what the American people voted for.
A test vote scheduled for today is expected to provide more clues on exactly where lawmakers stand and where things go from here.
Well, Cubs pitchers and catchers reported for day one of spring training.
I love to hear it. Mike Kaplan joining us now. Mike, apparently other Cubs players already in Arizona?
Yeah, they're getting ready. The pitchers and catchers get there usually first, but there are more players there. With the addition of some new proven players, the Cubs are favorites to win the NL Central. But inside the clubhouse, they're all in on winning a World Series. Martina Witt explains.
The Cubs once again head into the season with their sights set high. After a heartbreaking exit in the NLDS, the message in the clubhouse has been clear. This group wants to accomplish more. The Cubs have been busy in the offseason reshaping their bullpen, adding Edward Cabrera to their rotation, and signing two-time World Series champ Alex Bregman to the roster. The journey now back to the postseason begins.
Everybody in this industry wants expectations. You work hard to get expectations, and that's what I'm referring to. You work really hard to build a roster that has expectations. You work really hard to get on a team that has expectations. So that's what we want. Sometimes I think there's this misnomer with that. So we're truly excited that we have expectations. It's not easy to get them, and so you work hard to get them.
It's the same as last year. It's to win a World Series. That's the expectation we hold ourselves to. If you're in here and you don't want that, we got to take a look in the mirror.
Well, day one of spring training for the Cubs has officially wrapped up. We also got the chance to catch up with Cubs president Jed Hoyer. Take a listen.
What excites you the most about this team heading into the season?
I think you said it earlier. I think we talked about unfinished business.
Okay.
In my career, some of the best seasons have come after good postseason runs, but ones that fell short. I think there's a level of hunger here that you feel. They got a taste of it last year. Fell short against the Brewers in Game 5. And so I think that, to me, is really important. That's what you feel here. There's an excitement and an energy that they know we have a good team.
Yeah.
They know that the guys are back together. But also, let's go further next year. And I think that's really important. Like I said, some of the best teams have been around suffered bad defeats the year before and rebounded really well. And so it adds a hunger and an excitement and an urgency to camp that I think doesn't happen otherwise.
For more on our conversation with Jed Hoyer, head on over to our YouTube channel at fox32chicago.com. Reporting in Mesa, Arizona, I'm Tina Nguyen, Fox Chicago Sports.
And it's definitely warmer in Arizona, but it's not that bad around here. In fact, we have some weather on the way that I think Cubs and Sox would be happy to see in April. We have partly cloudy skies out there right now. Temperature at O'Hare's in the upper 20s, 26. North wind at about 5 miles per hour, so we do have a wind chill of 20. And a few spots are in the teens. I mentioned earlier, as I was driving in, my thermometer bottomed out around 15. It's like, whoa, boy. Winter coats for the kids this morning, but it's going to get up into the upper 30s by noon, low 40s this afternoon for the ride home. It will not be the perfectly blue sky that we saw yesterday, but there'll still be some filtered sunshine getting through those clouds. These are the expected highs today. Notice there is a spread. We have cooler temperatures along the lakefront. Why? Because we're going to have a southeast wind, and that'll knock temperatures back a little bit. The farther southwest you go, that's where the warmer temperatures are going to be found. LaSalle, Naples, 48 degrees there. Maybe Morris, Minooka, Gardner, 46. Kankakee area, 44. It'll be a little bit cooler in northwest Indiana, but even these numbers are pleasant for this time of year. I think we'll hit 42 for the official high, just as we did yesterday. Any rain, and most of this isn't even reaching the ground, showing up on radar there in Iowa, that is going to miss us as it dries out over central Illinois later today. 42 for the high, just like yesterday. Southeast winds at 5 to 10 will make it a little bit cooler along the lakefront, and then it gets warmer starting tomorrow. I'll show you that 7-day in just a few minutes.
Well, coming up on Good Day, we continue our coverage of lawmakers trying to hammer out a funding deal for DHS.
Yes, what we are hearing out of Washington, D.C. that is coming up.
To the dump, dump, dump.
Welcome back, 516. We will have a better idea later today whether the Department of Homeland Security is careening toward a funding shutdown tomorrow night.
The Senate is expected to move ahead with the procedural vote. Our Doug Luzader joins us live from Washington this morning. Doug, what can you tell us about this vote that's happening a little bit later today?
Well, we've got this deadline coming up on Friday night. Tomorrow night heading into Saturday morning. That's when the Department of Homeland Security would run out of money. Now, it may be that they've reached this deal where there's just not enough time to get a full deal done, so they come up with a continuing resolution or a CR. That's certainly a possibility, although Democrats right now are holding firm against that. Now, their minds may change as we get closer to this deadline. And it may be that we go through this, kind of mini shutdown, which is what this would be. I mean, the Department of Homeland Security is huge, but it's not all of government. And if that's the case, it would be something that probably most people wouldn't notice for a while. But if it becomes a protracted situation, particularly TSA agents could begin missing paychecks, and that's where people might see kind of an impact on this. ICE, on the other hand, which is really the target of all of this and the source of a lot of this debate, actually has funding secured already. So they wouldn't be affected so much, but the Department of Homeland Security is a sprawling department.
So when Mike Johnson says a couple of the Democrats' demands here are non-starters, what is he referring to?
Well, they're probably a couple of things. One has to do with this requirement that ICE would no longer be able to wear face masks. And the Republican argument against this is that these agents are routinely doxxed, their families could be in danger, and that they have to be able to conceal their identities. Another issue has to do with the requirement for judicial warrants to arrest people, go into houses, things like that. Supporters of ICE say that would just almost end enforcement, at least as they try to get significant numbers of illegal immigrants out of the country. So, those are deemed to be non-starters on the Republican side, and they are absolute requirements right now on the Democratic side, and there's not much middle ground there.
And Doug, you mentioned that TSA would be impacted if the shutdown does go forward. What other agencies will be impacted if a deal isn't reached by Friday?
Well, DHS has a lot of agencies, so all of them could eventually be impacted. We're talking about the ones that the public interfaces with, which would be TSA primarily. But you've got agencies like the Coast Guard and, FEMA, Secret Service, and a lot of these are deemed essential workers. So these are people that would have to continue to work, even though eventually they may start missing paychecks if this becomes a long-term shutdown.
All right, that is our Doug Luzader reporting live from Washington this morning. We will wait and see if a deal can be reached by Friday. Thanks again, Doug.
Thank you.
Time's now 5:19 this morning. Hollywood is remembering the life of actor James Van Der Beek, who died following a battle with colorectal cancer. He's best known for playing Dawson Leary on Dawson's Creek throughout his run from 1998 until 2003. During those years, he also established himself on the big screen with roles including Varsity Blues, Texas Rangers, and The Rules of Attraction. He'd been very open about his battle with stage 3 colorectal cancer, sharing his diagnosis back in November of 2024. He's survived by his wife Kimberly and their 6 children. James Van Der Beek was 48 years old.
The Chicago woman who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent is fighting for the release of all evidence related to her case. The attorney for Marimar Martinez wants to use body cam video as proof that the agent lied. Last October, Agent Charles Exum steered his vehicle into Martinez's car and then shot her 5 times. The government called the teaching assistant with no criminal record a domestic terrorist and charged her with ramming the agent. Exum told the FBI all 5 shots went through the windshield. However, ballistics evidence show that 3 hit the passenger side, 1 in the back. 4 hours later after this incident, Commander Greg Bavino emailed Exum praising his, quote, excellent service. Martinez's attorney says the timing on all of this raises questions.
The chief of Border Patrol, while Marimar's in the hospital hooked up to IVs, hopefully going to survive, is emailing the agent saying, good afternoon. I'd like, of all the things, right, I'd like to extend an offer to extend your retirement by age 57. So what message does this send to all the agents, okay? If you shoot a protester while you're wearing the Border Patrol uniform, the first thing you're going to get within 4 hours of the shooting, first of all, there will be no investigation. Second, there'll be no administrative review.
Okay. DHS now has 6 months to respond to this complaint. If they don't, Martinez can move forward with that lawsuit.
Well, there is now more affordable housing available in Humboldt Park. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held for a new building in the 1200 block of North California Avenue. It was hosted by the Hispanic Housing Development Corporation. This $32 million project included multiple apartment units, a laundry facility, a community room, and bike storage.
This project is representative of what it means to truly take care of families, to be able to meet them where they're at, to provide wraparound services.
All 40 units will be affordably priced for families of 4, earning up to $78,000 a year, including some deeply affordable units serving families earning less than $36,000 a year.
The building was designed by the architectural group Design Bridge and paid for by both private and public groups.
All right, it's 5:22. Let's check back in with Mike Kaplan, and he's got another mild forecast for us.
Yeah, and today temperatures will end up being similar to yesterday when we topped out into low 40s, and then it gets really warm. Remember, this time of year, mid-30s would be the normal high. We're going to get way past that every single day in this forecast. Today, there are some sprinkles showing up in Iowa. All of that activity is going to wither on the vine as it approaches central Illinois today. That's going to miss us to the south. However, we will get a little bit of cloud cover from that disturbance. And there's also going to be, I think, a little bit of cloud cover coming off the lake today. We will have a little bit of a southeast wind today. That's going to hold temperatures down right up against the shore. Later tonight, skies will be partly cloudy and fairly pleasant. Here you see some of that cloudiness breaking up tomorrow. I think tomorrow ends up being a very sunny day, similar to what we had yesterday. And temperatures will likely be, I think, about 10 degrees warmer than what we had yesterday. Tomorrow night looks quiet, and then we move into Saturday. There will be a disturbance missing us to the south with some rain across central Illinois. Here's the extended temperature outlook for February 20th through the 26th. We're almost running through the month. Temperatures above normal, still favored across most of the eastern 3/4 of the country, including here in Chicagoland. Today, let's go for 42, partly to mostly cloudy skies. It won't be as sunny as yesterday, and it will be a few degrees cooler along the lakefront. Down to 28 tonight under a partly cloudy sky. In the 7-day forecast, 50 plus starting tomorrow. The weekend looks great, 52 for Valentine's Day, and I still think we have a reasonable shot of getting to 60 degrees here next week. Let's go for it on Wednesday, despite a few rain showers. All right, Anthony, we are still moving smoothly on the road.
Yes, we are. Look at this. Look at this positive update. The computer gave us a little scare a few minutes ago, but here are the accurate times. Everything is in the green here at 5:24 on your Thursday morning. You're less than half hour on all the inbound expressways. The Dan Ryan 95th to downtown, 18 minutes. So everybody's cruising as of now. Stay safe so those times stay in the green all morning or as long as possible. Some other good news. Hey, if you take the Southwest service, Metra, you are back in business 6 minutes from right now. Metra's freight partners report that the tracks will open up at 5:30 a.m. So the trains are expected to be operating with just minor delays. So they'll be a little slower, but things are up and running after that massive derailment yesterday.
Well, Northwestern University receives a huge donation.
Millions and millions. What the money will be used for when we come back after this short break. Northwestern University getting another massive donation from Chicago philanthropist Neil Bloom. He is donating $50 million to the Bloom Cardiovascular Institute. Northwestern says the money will expand access to health care by bringing new tech and innovative therapies, support new research and clinical trials. The money is also going toward increasing the size of the Bloom Heart Hospital.
Over the past week, the world's best squash players faced off in a high-stakes showdown right here in Chicago. The men's and women's finals for this year's Windy City Open unfolded last night. They were held at the University Club of Chicago. This tournament showcases fierce both mental and physical competition on a state-of-the-art glass court. Look at it, it's pretty cool, right? The sport continues to explode in popularity.
The level of athleticism, if you've never seen squash before, is absolutely astonishing. We're just trying to grow the game. We're just trying to get ready for the LA Olympics in 2028. We want people to just support the game, and I think the game sells itself.
Norel Sherbini took home the trophy in the women's draw, while Mustafa Usal took home the top prize in the men's division. Both of the winners are from Egypt.
All right, congrats to all. Okay, it is 5:29. Let's check back in with Mike Kaplan.
Brian and I were talking earlier. Neither of us has played
any squash?
Nope.
Squash.
No, but the only racket sport I've played of late, pickleball.
Pickleball,
Yeah.
okay.
And it was fun. I get it. that
Okay,
it's a
you
huge
understand
trend.
the
I get it,
appeal.
but yeah, never squash.
Me neither. I don't even know how to. It looks like you'd run into your opponent almost like racquetball. All right, I want to show you the radar. We have quiet conditions out there right now. You look at this, you say, oh my goodness, there must be a bunch of stuff happening out there in Iowa, some rain, maybe some ice coming down. No airport in Iowa, where the official reporting station is located, reporting any of that even reaching the ground. And by the time this stuff moves to the east, it is going to be fizzling across central Illinois and missing Chicagoland safely off to the south and west. Temperatures right now, got some cold numbers there. 18 at Valparaiso and Michigan City, 20 at Waukegan, 26 in Morris, not too bad, 28 degrees at Midway. And along Chicago's lakefront, it is 31. Right now, it's a little warmer at the lake. Later today, it's going to be a little bit cooler at the lakefront, but still warmer than normal. 35 there later this afternoon, right downtown at the lake. 36 at Waukegan, but look at all these 40s populating areas away from the influence of those cooler waters. Nothing inhibiting the warm-up on the way starting tomorrow. It'll be 50 plus across the board, maybe a 60 in there on Wednesday. That's also a day when we have a chance for a couple of showers. Could start as early as Tuesday night. Back to you both.
All right, make sure to stick around.
Okay, indeed. More news on Good Day Chicago on the way after this short break. Welcome back. Right now on Good Day Chicago, as of 3.5 minutes ago, the Southwest service line with Metra has now resumed following a train derailment.
The family of a high school student in Aurora speaks out after his family says that he received multiple injuries during a school walkout.
And the Chinese American Museum of Chicago is showing off its new collection that is all about love. Some really cool personal stories are on display in time for Valentine's Day. Mike?
All right, a little bit of high cloud cover out there right now. Temperatures, for the most part, are in the 20s. Most of us are headed for the low 40s, similar to yesterday. Just won't be as sunny, but the real warm-up gets underway tomorrow. I'll show you some big numbers. Let's hope that Anthony doesn't have big numbers on his map.
Your hopes are going to be realized here in stunning fashion, Mike. Look at all that green on the board. Yes, 25 minutes is your inbound ride on the Kennedy. It's 23 inbound on the Eisenhower from Route 390 to downtown. Smooth sailing on the Stevenson between I-355 and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and same deal on the Dan Ryan Expressway. It is only a 19-minute ride from 95th to downtown. And some more good news from the Southwest. Metra Southwest service is back up and running after that massive train derailment snarled things yesterday. We're checking in with Roseanne, who is live on the scene with an update there from on the ground. Roseanne, everything looking good this morning?
Yes, after that huge mess yesterday, we just watched the first train leave the station. Things are back on track. That train headed to Union Station, leaving right on time at 5:30 here from the Chicago Ridge Station. Now, this is after that huge mess, and it looks like service resuming just in time for the morning rush. Now, of course, yesterday, 10 cars of that freight train derailed between Ridgeland and Central Avenue, where the CSX and Metra tracks intersect. Nobody was hurt, no freight spilled, but crews worked through the night removing debris. Metra saying not only were both sets of rails damaged, there was also significant switch and signal damage. All trains to and from Chicago Ridge were canceled, and while Southwest service is back running this morning, we do want to let you know Central Avenue between 107th and Pleasant is closed. Now, we talked to some commuters this morning who say they were relieved.
I got here and I find out that there was no service. There was a lot of police activity. And then I realized, social media, that there was a train derail ahead of us. So I ended up going to the orange line to get to work.
Right. And then did you see the video of that through the day?
Throughout the day, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was going through your mind? Did you think you'd be able to take the train today?
Actually, to be honest, it looked pretty bad. So I was doubting. I was like, maybe not until Monday, because it looked, a major, derailment. So, but I'm glad it's back to normal. So.
Right. So you're leaving at 5:30 to Union Station?
Correct.
Yes. And again, so that was a wonderful sight for the people here this morning. Now, back live, we're looking at workers still on the tracks. As daylight approaches, we'll get a better idea of what they are doing, but they are still at the scene. There's still much work to be done. But again, the good news, trains are running once again on the Southwest line. Back to you in the newsroom.
All right. Thank you so much, Roseanne. Good news for commuters this morning for sure. All right. Time is now 5:37 this morning. A mother and her son in Aurora, they're speaking out after she says that her 15-year-old son was tackled by police during an anti-ICE school walkout earlier this week. The family of Yuvel Perez Soto, who happens to be an East Aurora high school student, says that he was part of a peaceful protest on Monday when officers knocked him to the ground. His mother claims that he was rushed to the hospital and treated for bruises and head injuries. Aurora police say that officers were responding to several coordinated walkouts involving roughly 1,500 students across Aurora. Police say that some of the students moved into traffic, blocked vehicles, and even got into fights. Fox Chicago spoke to Soto about his experience.
In that moment, he was grabbing me by my sweater and he spun me around. Then some random officers tried to they came out of nowhere and just tackled me to the ground. They were putting all their weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I told them get off me because I couldn't breathe at all. I couldn't breathe. I just woke up and then they grabbed me. They put me back in the back of the van.
Soto was one of 3 teenagers arrested during the walkout. Students and community members are now demanding that the Aurora Police Department to drop all charges against the teens. They're also demanding accountability from the officers.
The search continues for the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. FBI agents were seen searching through the area around Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson, Arizona. She went missing now 2 weeks ago. Agents made their way through the desert vegetation and brush there in an effort to find any clue related to her disappearance. One woman who lives right next to Annie Guthrie, that's Savannah's sister, says she answered questions from agents.
They were just asking some general questions, wondering if there was any information we could shed on the Nancy Guthrie issue. Wanted to look around the property and asked about cameras and such.
Since Nancy Guthrie went missing, the Pima County Sheriff's Department says they have received roughly 18,000 tips in connection to the investigation.
A Chicago man sentenced to life in prison for a 2020 double homicide in Chinatown. Prosecutors say the 26-year-old Alvin Thomas approached 2 men and 2 women in the parking lot of an apartment complex in Chinatown. They said he tried to rob all of them and shot the men who resisted. The victim's family is happy to finally have closure. Meanwhile, Thomas's family says he was not trying to rob them, that he was actually drunk looking for help.
They assumed that he was seeking harm, but he was seeking help. So this case is basically focusing on prejudice, biases within the courtroom, within the judicial system. We have evidence. There are transcripts. There's video that corroborates Alvin's story.
Finally, I can tell my late husband somewhere up there that we did it. And finally, we got justice. Finally, that's a closure, and finally I can turn the page and start a new life.
Thomas's family says neither family won in all of this and suggested that they will appeal.
Time is running out, meantime, for Congress to figure out funding for DHS before the agency runs out of money. Democrats appear prepared to let the government shut down if they can't get reforms on ICE and Border Patrol policy. Republicans say the Democrats' demands are a wish list of non-starters and say that ICE has already been fully funded through the rest of the Trump administration.
Get rid of the masks. They don't need to be dressed like tactical operators in Fallujah. Should be wearing name tags. Use of force, criteria that they have, their standard operating procedures needs to be overhauled as well.
If their policies were enacted, we would just have open borders. We'd have open, unimpeded immigration, and that is not what the American people voted for.
A test vote scheduled for today is expected to provide more clues on where lawmakers stand and where things will go from here.
A love story is unfolding on paper in Chinatown as it is told through intimate love letters exchanged between 2 community leaders. The Chinese American Museum of Chicago named this collection All My Love. It is how Bernie and Albert Wong signed their love letters. They're well known throughout Chicago. What wasn't known is how their young love developed over the course of 300 love letters donated to the museum following their death. The daughter, Jacinta Wong, read the letters for the very first time as that exhibit was being put together.
They were in Mom's closet, and she would pull them out when she was ill, when she was going through her cancer treatments. So I knew they existed. I just have never read them before. I think that it's important for people to really get a good idea of, what Chinese immigration and love looked like back at the time. They always were very, clear that they were a staunch couple, but, the romantic side of it doesn't really, relate when you're their child.
This exhibit opens this weekend just in time for Valentine's Day.
That is a very cool
300 love letters.
Yeah, personal story. Look at the penmanship,
great penmanship too. Yeah,
it's great writing. Oh my God.
It's kind of a lost art form, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had that art form.
I never did either.
No, it is ugly. Even if I'm printing, I can't even read what I'm writing anymore. All right, we have some beautiful weather on the way here. No big storms in sight. No cold air inside. I mean, it's chilly out there right now, but compared with normal, it's fine. Even warmer temperatures are on the way. No end in sight to the above normal temperatures. 50s start tomorrow, and there is no snowfall in sight. And here we are, 12th of February. You know, the clock is ticking. 26 degrees right now in O'Hare. North wind at 5. A little bit of a wind chill. Feels like 20 degrees out there right now. Other temperatures include 30 at the lakefront and only 20 at Waukegan, 22 in Aurora. Joliet, partly cloudy and 24. A couple of colder spots. Valparaiso and Michigan City in there with 18 degrees. You're not getting a wind off the lake there, so your temperatures consequently are cold. Now, there will be a little bit of cloud cover sinking into your area, northwest Indiana, coming in off the lake. That'll fall apart. We get a mixture of clouds and sun through the day today. I think enough sun to propel temperatures for most of us into the low 40s. Tonight, skies will be partly cloudy as a disturbance passes off to our south. And then tomorrow, it's off to the races we go. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day. It may end up looking very similar to yesterday in terms of cloud cover, as in none. And that is going to help temperatures, I think, get into the low 50s here tomorrow and continue a run right on into next week with no sign of any rainfall, no snowfall in the Chicago area. So maybe Tuesday night or Wednesday. 42 today. It'll be a little bit cooler at the lakefront, courtesy of the southeast wind. It's a little bit early to talk about lakeside cooling, but that will be the case today. 28 for the low tonight, partly cloudy, seasonable temperatures. And look quickly here at the 7-day forecast. We have 50 plus on the way starting tomorrow into the middle of next week when we have a chance of hitting 60 here on Wednesday. 5:45. Be right back after this.
Download today.
Hollywood is remembering the life of actor James Van Der Beek, who died following a battle with colorectal cancer. He's best known for playing Dawson Leary on Dawson's Creek throughout its run from 1998 through 2003. During those years, he also established himself on the big screen with the roles including Varsity Blues, Texas Rangers, and The Rules of Attraction. He was very open about his battle with stage 3 colorectal cancer, sharing his diagnosis in November of 2024. He is survived by his wife Kimberly and their 6 children. James Vanderbeek was 48 years old.
The Chicago woman who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent is fighting for the release of all evidence related to her case. The attorney for Marimar Martinez wants to use body cam video as proof that the agent involved here lied. Last October, Agent Charles Exum steered his vehicle into Martinez's car, then shot her 5 times. The government called the teaching assistant, who has no criminal record, a domestic terrorist and charged her with ramming the officer. Exum told the FBI all 5 shots went through the windshield, but later ballistics evidence showed that 3 of them hit the passenger side, 1 in the back. 4 hours later, after the incident unfolded, Commander Greg Bavino emailed Exum praising his excellent service. DHS now has 6 months to respond to the complaint. If they don't, Martinez can move forward with the lawsuit.
There's now more affordable housing available in Humboldt Park. This ribbon-cutting ceremony was held for a new building in the 1200 block of North California Avenue. It was hosted by the Hispanic Housing Development Corporation. This $32 million project included multiple apartment units, a laundry facility, a community room, and bike storage.
This project is representative of what it means to truly take care of families, to be able to meet them where they're at, to provide wraparound services.
All 40 units will be affordably priced for families of 4, earning up to $78,000 a year, including some deeply affordable units serving families earning less than $36,000 a year.
This building was designed by the architectural group Design Bridge and paid for by both private and public groups. Time now 5:50 this morning. Coming up on Good Day, the best squash players in the world. They're playing in a big tournament here in Chicago.
We will have the winners from both the men's and women's divisions when we return.
Auto Mall.
Over the past week, the world's best squash players faced off in a high-stakes showdown here in Chicago. The men's and women's finalists for this year's Windy City Open unfolded last night. It was held at the University Club of Chicago. This tournament showcases fierce mental and physical competition on a state-of-the-art glass court. The sport just continues to explode in popularity.
The level of athleticism, if you've never seen squash before, is absolutely astonishing. We're just trying to grow the game. We're just trying to get ready for the LA Olympics in 2028. We want people to just support the game, and I think the game sells itself.
Narelle Sherbini took home the trophy in the women's draw, while Mustafa Ustal took home the top prize in the men's division. Both of the winners are from Egypt.
Congrats to the winners there. All right, 5 minutes till 6 a.m. Time to check in with Mike once again.
Take a look at that light hanging there in the southeastern sky. Do you see that?
I do.
That is the crescent moon. And if you look closely at the side that's not being sunlit, it's being partially illuminated by what's called earth shine. A little bit of sunlight bounces off the earth and hits the moon. That's why you can see the non-sunlit portion when the moon is in its crescent phase. And we'll see some sunshine later today as well. And in terms of temperatures in the long term, week from tomorrow through February 26th, still expected to be warmer than normal across most of the country with the exception of the west. And that includes here in Chicagoland. 42 today. That is about 7 degrees above average. Southeast winds at 5 to 10. That'll hold temperatures back a little bit close to the shore. Tonight down to 28. Partly cloudy skies, seasonable temperatures, and won't be very windy. And then look at every day in this forecast. After today, 50 plus. Beautiful weather for Valentine's Day. A little bit more cloud cover, high 52 degrees. There'll be a system missing us to the south. 52 on Sunday, 54 Monday, 58 Tuesday. And if we can get even a little bit of sun out there on Wednesday, despite the presence of a few showers, I think we can tag the 60-degree mark. Got a couple of lovely photos to share with you. The first of which, what do you think was made there? Susan Brown showing us what is left of a snow angel. And that is really cool how that has now melted, and you can see the bare ground underneath where you made that. Susan, I want to know where that is. That's still quite a bit of snow on the ground. Not sure when you took that photo, but there's hardly any. I could not reveal a snow angel at my place, even had I made one. And then our second photo comes to us from a friend of the program, Rick Salmon, professional photographer extraordinaire. I don't know how many dozens of books he's written about photography, but you can see why. That is a beautiful picture there along the Hudson River. He lives there in New York, and Rick sent that picture to me to share. Almost looks like slices of pizza made of ice there in the foreground. Good composition, Rick. That is a pretty shot. Thank you for sharing with us. 5:57. We're going to be right back after this.